Welcome to Around Town, featuring what's happening here in the greater Concord area. I'm your host, Dick Patten, and we're about ready to say goodbye to August and get ready for Labor Day. And of course, schools are opening up, and we're having one last big thing of hot weather, and now it's cooling down a little bit, but it'll get warm again before fall officially arrives here in September. But I'm pleased today to have with me Reverend Kevin Twombly or Twombly?
Twombly.
Twombly.
Yep, the English pronunciation, not the French.
T-W.
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 Yes.
Well, how would the French say it?
The Tremblay or?
Oh, Tremblay.
Tremblay. Yeah.
Oh, Tremblay. Okay. And Kevin is the pastor for the, now let's see if we can get this right, Restoration.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Restoration Foursquare Church.
Foursquare Church.
Yeah.
I don't
It's a tongue twister. Yeah.
Well, I don't understand this Foursquare Church and all this jazz, because that's the same thing with, we just talked about First Baptist when they changed their name to Centerpoint. Well, I don't get it. I guess I was born in Concord, so I'm used to the old days of first this, second this, whatever. But when you go to, what is the difference with yours?
What's the difference with our church?
I mean, you're meeting in, not with United Baptist,
right,
but you're using their building, right?
Yeah, we meet at United Baptist Church.
What time do you have your service?
Sunday at 4 o'clock.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the perfect time. So for the past 20 years, I was pastoring at Grace Capital Church down in Pembroke.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay.
My morning routine on a Sunday, I would be out of the door, out of the house, and at the church by 7 o'clock in the morning. And we had multiple services at that time, and so with a 9 o'clock service and an 11 or 8:30 service and 10:30 service, be home about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But the morning was always run, hustle. My Sundays now are very relaxed. I can wake up, kind of ease into the day, have my cup of coffee, sit on the porch and talk with my wife, hang out with my kids a little bit, do a little planning, and service starts at 4 o'clock. So it's a nice relaxed entry point into the day.
But Grace Capital really boomed down there. I mean, that's really big.
Yeah.
So why would you, you left there.
Yep.
So this isn't really an extension of them here in Concord. This is brand
right,
new?
Yeah, brand new work, yeah. So with the location, even though Pembroke is, it's just across the river.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a few miles from downtown Concord, but those few miles for what we feel called to do as a church to reach kind of the under-resourced community. There's no bus line that runs out to Pembroke. You might as well, the church might as well be in Guam. It's less accessible to those who we're trying to be able to be a resource for. And so we wanted to be right in the downtown area.
So I'm still trying to figure out the name. I mean, how did you...
So denominationally, as far as a denomination affiliation, we are a Foursquare Church.
Well, what's Foursquare?
Foursquare is a charismatic Pentecostal denomination. Began back in the early 20s, 1920, out in Southern California. There are, as far as the four squares, it's kind of the doctrinal tenets of Jesus Christ as Savior, Healer, Baptizer in the Holy Spirit, and soon coming King. And so those are the four squares of the Foursquare doctrine.
So it's not like Advent, Lent, Pentecost, and ordinary time, and so basically...
No, but those are all good things to celebrate.
Oh, yeah? I love Advent.
Yeah.
Because I'm Mr. Christmas anyway, but it's just trying to figure, because, we've got Next Level in here now. That's a new name.
Yeah, yep.
it's like, where do they get these names from? You know, and I'm just trying to figure, what are you preaching? You know, so
Yeah.
obviously you're Protestant.
Yep.
And how big is your congregation?
About 150
Really?
people. Yep. Yeah.
Where are you getting them from?
We reach out and invite people to come and meet new people, people from the community. We started the church last October. October 6th was our public launch. And we started with, there were about 90 people that we kind of began with. And people are reaching out and inviting others to come. And
So has this turned into like a full-time job position for you?
it has, yeah. For the past year, I worked full-time at Merrimack Valley High School. Worked in the special ed department with some of the kids who are the discipline behavioral issues.
Oh.
And I had 15 years of full-time youth ministry background. And so working with teenagers in the church world, they're everyday, ordinary kids, and they all have different struggles and challenges. And so it was an easy hop to go from kind of a youth ministry focus to working in the public school.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, at the close of this school year with Merrimack Valley, I transitioned from full time at the school to full time with the church.
Wow.
So
Well, that's good. You can do that.
yeah.
Well, interesting why I called you on is because I read the article in the paper and I thought, well, this is a nice project, but yet, once again, the old vandal happens to come in. And how did you get doing this project? This is a project that you started, right?
Yeah. About 3 years ago, spent a week at Morningstar, the condos right across from Arnie's.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
we were there for a week. We were doing an outreach, kind of a vacation Bible school right there on site. We set up on the playground in the back area by the basketball court that they have out there. Set up a tent and spent the week out there. And it was Monday through Friday. And Monday, while I was there, I noticed a lot of kids that were riding bikes that were all broken. There were some kids that were literally riding just on the metal rims of the bike, no tube, no tire. And I'm a cyclist myself, love to ride, and just, there's a freedom that you find when you're out there and the wind's,
Yeah.
well, I was going to say wind's blowing through your hair, but
Oh, I know.
not-
You got some.
not me. But I saw these kids, riding bikes that needed to be repaired, and so on Tuesday I just showed up with some tools and
Yeah.
some equipment and started fixing the bikes that for the kids that were there, and that turned into just kind of sharing that experience with some people, and some people had old bikes that they donated to me, and I started by the end of the week we had given probably about 25 bikes to the kids and the parents that were in the community there, and that, I don't know, sparked something within me that there's a need. The more I was speaking with folks who are refugees, they come to the country and they're given some assistance. Lutheran Social or Accentria now, they're given some assistance and job help, and they may find a job, but they may lack transportation. Talked with many people that were just living in Morningstar that would walk. That they would ride the bus as far as the bus would go, and then walk sometimes 7-8 miles to get to work. And I thought if we could get them bikes, they would have transportation, reliable transportation that would get them to work, and then they could provide for their families and make a go of it here in America.
How long have you lived in Concord?
I've lived in Concord for, well, truth be told, I live in Pennacook, but
Oh, that's
I
Concord.
render my taxes to Concord.
That's
so, yes.
Concord.
Yeah, it's
a
Concord.
village. It's
Yeah.
Ward 1.
Yeah.
How many
So,
years?
17 years now.
All right. We're going to take it back a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of history.
We're going in the way back machine.
Because I love to talk history.
Okay.
All right. You said Morning
Morningstar.
Star.
The apartments or the condos that are there, yeah.
Well, when they first built them, okay, they were called, do you know what their original name was?
No clue.
The original name was Lexington Manor.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And that's when Dairy Queen was across the street.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
You know,
And now we've come full circle, and Dairy Queen is just down the street.
Because at that time, Dairy Queen did not have that addition on it that they built on.
Okay.
It was just the big red roof.
Oh yeah, the old style Dairy Queens, yeah.
And that's what it was. And of course, we always look forward to when you could tell when spring was coming, because you'd see the big red roof light up. And we knew that Dairy Queen was opening for the season.
Nice.
Yeah, that was called Lexington Manor.
Okay.
And and back then, it was, of course, it was, I'd say, a high scale, but it was a good apartment complex.
Yeah.
Didn't have much problems up there.
Yeah.
Then they went through another name change, and then still another name change. But yeah, so Concord at one time, the Heights was not a lot of apartments, but they started up with Lexington Manor, and then down across from the fire station was Lord Barron Apartments. Now it's Concord Green or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's good. So that's how you started up there then. And then, of course, now the bicycles were stored down at the church?
At the church, yeah. So, fast forwarding 3 years through the bikes, I refer to it as Bikes Bring Hope.
Yeah.
And so there's been about 230, give or take, bikes that have been donated to families right here in the city of Concord. Different people, I'll get a call every once in a while, connected with a lot of the pastors, and I'll get a call from a pastor saying, just met a guy, he just got out of prison, he's got a job, but he needs transportation, do you have a bike? And find out what size they are and get a bike for them. And so it's not just for the refugees, it's for those in need. Anyone who's trying to make a better life for themselves, and a bike can help them.
Sure.
We get bikes to the kids because every kid needs to find the freedom that you can find on a bike. It's a lot of fun to ride a bike as a kid, and I hear some of the stories from some of these kids that are refugees that have come, and the places that they've come from, the lives that they lived, and the lack that they lived with. It's a joy to be able to give them a bike, and
I'm sure
to see the look on their face when they realize that it's theirs. You know? So we've been collecting bikes. We put the word out through Facebook and through other means, just to communicate with people the need that we have, and people will make donations of their used bikes. It seems like everyone has a bike in their attic or their garage or basement.
We've got a couple.
Yeah, and so we get those bikes and put a little money into repairing them, whether it be just new tires or tubes, or getting the rust off the chain, replacing cables for the brakes, or some of the bikes with multiple gears, just making sure that they're all tuned up and ready to go. And then once we've got about 50 of them, we'll then show up and give them out to those that are in need. We had about 35 bikes that we were storing, had them all locked up behind United Baptist Church, and had started the repair process on some of them. And I showed up about a week ago on Wednesday, and discovered that the bikes had, the lock had been cut, and many of the bikes that were in good working order were gone, and the bikes that were left behind, they had stripped for parts, taken seats and handlebars and tires,
and nobody heard that, right?
No. Well, I think plenty of people had heard it, because there was security footage, on a video camera, security footage that there were about a dozen people that kind of came and went between 7 and 8 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday evening, and broad daylight. So people knew what was going on. There were people that would show up, and they'd walk over and hop on a bike, take it for a ride, and then bring it back, and then hop on another bike and find the one that they liked, and then ride off. And others that just took parts. And
have they arrested anybody? Or?
I'm not certain about any arrests yet. I know that the police have the footage, and they're identifying the individuals. I've had conversations with it's Sean Ford, who's one of the officers.
Oh, yeah.
Had conversations with him and proposed a diversion program. You know, if they want to work on bikes, I'd like them to have some community service that's enforced. You know, some weight put on them to participate, but have them work on the bikes that need to be repaired.
I remember Sean Ford when he first started the police officer.
He's a good guy.
He worked with me over at Pittsfield Police Department.
Oh, yeah?
That was his first place he started out at.
Yeah.
And then he left there and went to Concord. So, yeah, I've known Sean for a long time.
Yeah, so he's helping out with that. And
Good.
I know they were identifying who was juvenile and who was adult, and figuring out those that something like a diversion program would work for, and others that maybe had other encounters with the law and need some more serious consequences.
But it sounds like, though, afterwards you got quite a few people that donated their bikes to you.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, more than anything, that's what I would want communicated to the community, you know, to anyone that's watching this, is not about what happened that was wrong, but the beauty of really the community, the generosity of the community within the city of Concord and actually the state of New Hampshire.
Yep.
There are many people who are reaching out, and they've got bikes that they're donating. Some people have donated financially to help purchase parts. Tim Farmer, who is the owner of S&W Sports, he's also part of the Central New Hampshire Bike Coalition, and they've offered bikes and parts.
Wow.
We just need to get a part list to them, and they've got what we need to help make the repairs on the bikes that were damaged.
Wow.
So it's, the city of Concord's a great city. There's a lot of great people within the city, and there's a lot of generosity.
Yeah, I was born here.
Yeah.
I was born in this area here, of course, was known as the original title for this area. Have you heard it?
Is this the Heights?
Well, this is the Heights.
Okay.
But you remember the original title for this area?
You're going to have to educate me again.
Was Burglar's Island.
Burglar's Island. Okay.
Because at that time there was no way to get from here to the city. There was no bridges.
There were no bridges at the time.
So you'd had to take a boat, canoe, or whatever. And then finally they built a bridge, or got a bridge across, and it became known as the Dark Plains.
Okay.
Because there was no electricity up here. Finally got some electricity.
How far back are we going?
Going back into the 1800s.
Okay.
Because my grandparents built the first house up here on East Sugar Ball Road back in 1916. And they didn't have electricity back then.
Wow.
And then finally the Grange, which I belonged to, started up here in 1912, I think it was. They petitioned and finally got some electricity up here on parts of it. So then it became known as the Crockett Plains, and that's what it was for many years until the early 60s, when it then became known as the Crockett Heights.
Okay.
So in front of Morningstar, that Morningstar, right?
Yep.
That was, Loudon Road was always a two-lane road. That was it, 2 lanes, one each way.
Yep.
And then, of course, they've expanded. But listening to you with your vandalism problem with the bicycles reminds me of what happened to me last November down at the State House Plaza. Because you remember the Christmas tree at
the light bulbs. Yeah.
Well, I coordinate that.
Yep.
And they damaged over 600 bulbs, destroyed the harness that connects the top and the bottom together. So that's why Christmas Day to New Year's, the light tree didn't light.
Yeah.
So now we've just started to fundraise for this year, and goodness knows how we're going to make out. I mean, I did have one big angel who donated a lot of bulbs last year, so we wouldn't have to buy them last minute.
Yeah.
But, it's just sad that people can't, when they see something good that benefits a lot of people,
Yeah.
You know, mind your business.
Yeah.
For goodness sakes, if you don't like Christmas, if you don't like a bicycle, go do something else
Right.
that's constructive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
Use
it's
your energy in a
sad.
positive
That's
way.
right. It's sad because, you know, and then what they did was they lined the sidewalk up to the State House, with all the broken bulbs, or the bulbs, and they smashed them all the way up through and left them. It was stupid.
Yeah.
So now, like I said, we're starting our fundraising, and hopefully we'll be able to raise enough funds to buy. I've got to buy 100 set lights, you know, of a string.
Yep.
I got to buy 20 of them to replace all those strings that got damaged.
Yeah. Yeah, and those are the big bulbs, not
The
just
C9s.
the little Christmas lights that you
Well,
get.
they're the C9s.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not the big light bulbs. They're the
Okay.
C9s of the bulbs.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can get a pack of 4 at Walmart or something for like $1 or something. Or I don't get into the LEDs. I don't like them.
Yeah.
They don't show up enough. We tried it at the Heights tree down here because I coordinate that one, and we tried that with LED lights one year, and you couldn't see it.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I mean, the poor guy who donated them thought he was doing a big deal, but you just couldn't see them.
Yeah.
They didn't shine enough.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad that, Kevin, it turned out good because, you know, here you are trying to do something nice for these kids who don't have a bicycle or couldn't afford one, or some adult that's trying to get to work and has no transportation. Instead of walking X amount of miles or can't afford a taxi cab, you know, I mean, you're trying to help them out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here you go. That's the thanks you get. So, I don't know. But, so what are you hoping to do now? Are you going to continue with the bikes? Anything else you might be thinking of doing? Or, sounds like you've got a big heart there. And have you got some other idea that you want to try to do?
Well, yeah, there's 27 different ideas
I'm sure.
rolling around. We've got a great group of volunteers and leaders at the church, and their mind, their heart set is very similar. You know, each person comes with different ideas.
Sure.
We help out in the Jennings Drive area, the housing community there. We go the first Saturday of each month. We partner with Rise Again Outreach. They do. It's a mobile mission. So there's a big box truck that's loaded up with clothing. Yeah. I know they do it right out here. I think the same Saturday, the first Saturday of the month.
Really?
And people will come and they can shop. You know, they go through the clothing, find the clothing that they need. There's toiletries available, and you know, different resources that they may not be able to afford themselves. And so we do that. But part of our team, they've begun with books, and they're bringing books now. For the children and for the parents. And yeah, one of the dreams is to, do you remember the old bookmobiles?
Yeah.
Yeah. So part of one of the dreams that one of our team has is that they would start up a bookmobile, you know, a mobile library that they could go out and about everywhere. They're educators. He's an author, and his wife is an elementary school teacher, and so they both believe in the value of reading and education, and so they want to help.
Well, I went to school over here, a dame school.
Yeah.
For 7 years.
Which is disappearing.
For 7 years.
Yeah.
It was kindergarten through 6th grade here.
Yep.
And they didn't have that new wing.
Yep.
They had just all the old section. Yes, that makes me disgusted. I'm sick of that. I think it's terrible, tearing that down like that.
What's being torn down?
They're keeping the auditorium.
Okay.
And that other wing.
Yeah.
But the other side, they've torn. It makes me sick because, there are a lot of things we wanted to do there, but they would charge us because I wanted to have like a historical room.
Okay.
But no, we'd have to pay so much every $1 a month. I said that's ridiculous. But anyway, but we were there from kindergarten. So when you say bookmobile, you make me feel like an antique. But when we first started, they would come over once a week, the public library, with a not a camper trailer, but a small trailer.
Yep.
And you'd go in, it had books lined up inside, and you would check them out. There they would, and we thought that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Then they got a regular camper trailer on a drive when you drive, bigger, and they had more books in there, and it was quite. They'd come in once a week. And we were excited. We thought that was a big deal, and of course we went down the road after that, but. I wondered if they still do that. I guess they don't, but because I guess every school has a library now. But I think that's a nice idea, them doing that.
I see the little library boxes that are up at all the parks.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great idea. Living in Pennacook, we go to Rolfe Park right up there and use the pool every once in a while. I've got a 7-year-old son. And he likes to frequent the little book stop there.
Yeah,
we've dropped some off in there. Nice opportunity to.
I didn't know they had that up there.
Yep. Yeah, I think that was done. There was a Boy Scout troop for Eagle Scout. I think that was a project that was done where they made the library boxes at each of the parks.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's great what you're doing, Kevin. I hope it continues for you.
Thank you.
I have to ask a question because I said I was at a funeral yesterday. Do you ever wear the collar?
I don't. No.
You don't wear the collar?
Yeah, no.
So how would I know you're a minister or a preacher if you didn't have a collar on?
We'd sit and have a conversation.
So that's
we'd talk. Yeah.
That's the new generation of ministers. I mean,
it might be. I don't know. I guess the collar would make it probably easier to identify.
Yeah.
I know I've shocked some people at different times.
Yes.
I'll go to different churches sometimes and speak as a guest speaker.
Yeah.
And when I'm there, at the beginning, if they have a time where fellowship, you just kind of introduce yourself. I'll shake hands and just hey, my name's Kevin, and talk to people, and then 20 minutes later, I'm up at the pulpit speaking. So I don't know. I try not to worry so much about identifying as a pastor, in the public eye, but more of just be who I am naturally with everyone, and develop relationships. And
well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, we've come to an end of Around Town, and I'm really happy that you came on, Kevin, and explained what went on up there with the bikes. And if anybody has a bicycle they're not using, please think about giving Kevin a call at his numbers. And now I assume you're on Saturday. You have a thing in the monitor about your church, how they can get a hold of you.
Yes, yeah. The easiest way is actually through Facebook.
Okay.
And if they just do RFCNH, facebook.com/RFCNH, Restoration Foursquare Church, New Hampshire.
Okay.
That's probably the easiest way to find our church page.
Okay.
Or website, which is rfcnh.com.
Good.
So, yeah.
Well, we got a Christmas parade coming up in a few months. You're more than welcome to come on in it.
Oh, we will be in the Christmas parade again. Yeah, we took first place last year for the
that's right.
one of the groups.
Is Grace Capital, right?
Nope, as Restoration.
As Restoration.
Yeah, yeah.
I know Capital's Granite State Baptist was in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day for a parade last year.
Well, that was my 45th year of being chairman. So
wow.
I'm on my 46th, and Ian's taping it. So
nice.
We're quite a team.
If you can call in any favors and have weather like we did last year.
Oh, I know. Believe me.
That'd be phenomenal.
I call Channel 9 every day. Well, good. Well, on behalf of Ian, my director, and again, we have Pastor Kevin Twombly here. Thanks for joining us on Around Town. Enjoy the weather, and we'll see you soon. I'm Dick Patten, your host.